Mr. Speaker, the number of illegal border crossings to Canada has increased 128% over the same time period last year. This has been an issue for well over a year, but this Prime Minister has failed to take any concrete steps to address the situation. In fact, it was the Prime Minister's own words that encouraged this crisis to start in the first place. So my question is, what was he doing that prevented him from addressing this crisis for a whole year?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, our system needs to be compassionate and needs to ensure that only those who should be in Canada stay.
In contrast to the Harper Conservatives, who cut $390 million from the CPSA and cut refugee health care. They created massive backlogs and processing delays, which we're still working to fix. They want to know concrete actions. Well, we've invested $173 million, which include $74 million to ensure faster processing of claims. While Conservatives continue to vote against funding for our security agencies, we will make sure they have the resources they need.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, we have no doubt that their plan is more expensive. Our problem is also that it's less effective. That's right. We're getting the worst of both worlds, a higher cost for a less effective border system. Now, according to an anonymous briefing from government officials reported by Global News, the plan to address the illegal migrant situation is still, quote, days or weeks away from being ready. This despite that this situation has been going on for over a year. Meanwhile, families here in Canada who are waiting to be reunited with a loved one or refugees facing real danger have to wait longer because of this government's inaction. Why?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I think people will be forgiven for rolling their eyes when the Conservatives talk about supporting refugees or accelerating process for family reunification. Their cuts left us with significant backlogs. They tried to get rid of backlogs by using the delete button. Instead, we invested significantly in ensuring that we have a robust immigration system that is able to handle asylum seekers and irregular arrivals. We will continue to make sure that Canada is a strong and open country that applies the rules of its immigration system.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Order.
Mr. Speaker, that is just so patently false. The reality is it is completely unfair and unjust to tell people who have waited years to come to Canada that their family members now have to wait longer just because some people want to jump the line. The Conservative government had a generous and welcoming immigration policy that was based on rules to ensure that legitimate refugees facing real danger and those waiting to be reunited with their families could do so. Why is this government prioritizing those who skip the line?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives cut funding for refugee and immigration processing. The Conservative government cut funding for refugee health care. And on top of that, this supposedly law and order party actually cut $400 million from the CPSA in their capacity to actually police and patrol our borders. Mr. Speaker, we will take no lessons from them. What we will do is continue to ensure the integrity of our immigration system, of our refugee system, and of our borders.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
It's no surprise that a government that has an $18 billion deficit has the only metric for success being how much money they're spending. The reality is that their system is broken. They are forcing people who want to come to Canada the right way to wait even longer as they prioritize those who are skipping the line. Why are they doing nothing after this situation has been building up for over a year?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, once again, the families that have been waiting for years are waiting for years largely because of the cuts in processing, the cuts in immigration services that the previous Harper government brought in, that they are continuing to double down on. We have made significant investments of hundreds of millions of dollars in improving our immigration processing times, accelerating family reunification, all the while ensuring that we live up to our international commitments to treat asylum seekers with the rules-based approach that they need to have.